Here we go again for another round. This time we got German activists, very, very important people, journalists, bloggers, and opinion influencers allying themselves with EA Games in order to sanitize the internet. Because you see, there are bad people with bad thoughts on the internet, and this is why they are watching you. You could be one of those bad people. And of course, EA Games and the German activists are highly concerned. And they want access. They want access to the companies that you are using in order to police you better. Ha ha, give them power. I didn't know where to put this video, if I should have put it on my gaming channel. And if you haven't subscribed to that, please do. Or if I should have just let it here on my political channel. But I decided to let it on my political channel because one of the people doing this, you see, one of the good people that are very, very highly concerned about the conversations going on the internet is an ex-Stasi member. Where can you find like a more decent, upstanding pillar of the community than when you look for ex-Stasi members? Now, as you can see at the end of the article, it mentions one Aneta Khan. Aneta Khan, which is the founder of one of the main backers of No Pixels for Fascists! Oh, no pixels! No pixels for fascists! Because I suppose the moral of the story is that these alleged fascists should actually go outside and do real things like politics and actual protest rather than waste their times playing video games, isn't it? It's really fascinating. A lot of people don't know what the Stasi were. The Stasi were the equivalent of the Gestapo, or the equivalent of the KGB, if you will. They were a secret police force charged with squashing dissent and prosecuting people for thought crimes. They would use informants, they would be able to bug your house with microphones. The way it would work is like, let's say you say something negative about the leadership, about the party, and you'd say it in your own house with your wife. Well, if your kid managed to hear it and reproduce what they heard at school, then the teacher would have to go to a Stasi officer and tell them. And they had almost unlimited power. They could just go into the middle of the night into your own house. They would have a key. Don't worry about it. They didn't have to break the door and cause a scene. And put a bag over your head and then push you in a car and you would never be seen again. Okay? This is what the secret police was. We had it in our own country. We called it the Securitate. But at least in our country, we have the common sense to treat these people the same way you would treat an ex-Nazi officer. With the right amount of disgust and disdain. First of all, we do not allow these people to get public office, like to be in a position of government. But secondly, like if you find out that someone was working as an informant, let alone actually be a member of the secret police, it would be like the most utter disdain and disgust that you could show towards that profession. It's like if you even are known to be talking with someone that used to be an informant, it's like, oh, what are you doing? Did you wash your hands? But in Germany, it seems that they don't want to let these very good skills and talents go to waste. If someone was part of a governmental organization designed to thought police people, well, they have a good resume to be in charge of thought policing gamers, right? I mean, it makes sense. If I'm not mistaken, Aneta Khan is also in charge of deciding what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable on television. Like she's part of an organization. The more you know, eh? And you have Germany, this freedom-loving country, lecturing the other bigoted nations of the world on how to police their internet and, of course, how dangerous it is that video games are harboring these evil, evil people. So let's read a little bit. Activists in Germany, the prestigious people, the pillar of the community, the freedom-loving activists of Germany, are again attempting to create narratives that the gaming community, particularly online, is rife with bigots and bigoted behavior such as racismus and misogynismus. Can you imagine that? You know, I bet the streets are also rife with people that are doing racismus and misogynismus. Why not just have cameras and drones everywhere to make sure that racismus and misogynismus is off our streets? Why? You know what I suggest? Every single person that buys a smartphone should have like a facial recognition camera so that you can tie the phone to the person, and every phone should have a microphone. So that if anyone uses racismus or misogynismus, the government gets to hear it. I mean, why stop here? You know, like video games are nonsense. Like, let's up it up a notch. Do you want to get rid of fascismus or not? Aneta Khan! Khan! The frustration of having such a large community that is unwilling to bend the knee is becoming too great. And they're in for another attack. Yeah, I've seen like 4 or 5 articles just pop out within a week about gaming. Even the ADL, it's very difficult to not believe that these are coordinated and it's just out of the blue. I think, this is my opinion, that they are trying to get Steam to bend the knee. They're trying to co-opt Steam, to subvert Steam. You know, like maybe Steam should have a couple of these activists to advise them, and it would just happen that the activists would get some money for their work, right? I mean, it's hard work. They need some of that green cash into their pockets, into the pockets of the activists. You don't want to work for free, like we're not in communism. This is a capitalist society. So if you advise Steam on how to deal with bigots, you need to get the cash, you need to get the mullah. So it's now getting a take a step with a really ridiculous name, No Pixel for Fascists. And in the words, its representative Pascal Wagner, it is a network of bloggers, journalists, and podcasters, YouTubers, developers, and others who are uniting against what is described as anti-democratic and inhumane gaming trends. You know, like no one forces you to play video games. Like I've never heard about the idea of inhumane trends that are optional. Like you can opt out. Like legitimately, you can play the game in single player, or you can make your own server and just play with your friends. I've never heard this idea. It's like, yeah, this optional thing is inhumane. Then why opt for it? But anyway, right. So the group wants to tackle Nazis, homophobies, sexists, and the like, who they say are using games and gaming to advance their cause. Notice how they don't care about jihadis. Notice how they don't care about communists. Notice how they don't care about eco-fascists. Why not? Why not? Like, why just stop at fascism? Like, if you're really willing to put your foot in the door, just go all the way and ram that cock in. And like, I generally do not understand it. Why just stop at Nazis, homophobes, and sexists? Why not go with communists? You have communists in your own group, don't you? Oh. You know, it's so great when I have communists lecturing people about morality. Like, oh God, how can communists sleep at night knowing that people are doing the wrong thing on the internet? Well, I hope that we're going to have Steam police the internet so that communists can sleep well at night. According to Wagner, their campaign is promoting anti-racist, LGBTQIA+ friendly and feminist game culture and wants to push back against its designated targets both online and offline. In the interview, Wagner specifically mentioned Gamergate as a hate movement. I love how Wagner doesn't mention that the FBI literally could not find a single conviction from Gamergate. But anyway. And then it's like, oh, it was used by pro-gamer President Donald Trump. Motherfucker, Donald Trump doesn't play video games. He even attacked video games. Like, do you remember when he said that, oh, video games cause violence? And it was the leftist press that all of a sudden was defending video games. It's like, no, Donald Trump, you do not understand. They cause sexism and homophobia. They do not cause violence. Even though, like, if you think about it, you know, when the US president says that video games cause violence, he just skipped a step because the left believes the same thing. They believe like, no, they cause sexism and homophobia, which leads to violence. That is scientific. The fact that it just causes violence, that is fake news. So I'm looking at these people. It's so funny. According to Johnson, people can be accused of being supporters of right-wing ideas even if they don't actually espouse them. It's enough to use right-wing rhetoric or to allow members of your community to do so. You know what? Johnson, I will put your fears into rest. I will put your fears to rest. So I understand that if you have a far-right friend on your Steam account, you become far-right by association. So therefore, I strongly suggest from now on, for every far-right friend, you have a far-left friend so that it balances out. Every single person should be obliged. Every time you have a friend that is far-right and you platform a bigot, you need to platform a communist, a moral, decent, upstanding, a Stasi member. A Stasi member. I would add Aneta Khan to my friends list. I would do this for you. I would do this so that Johnson can sleep easily at night. Isn't that great? There, we fixed the problem. Johnson, you bring me problems, I bring you solutions. YouTubers need to be aware that they have as much, if not more, influence as television. If only the YouTube CEO would think like that. She wouldn't use the algorithm against us. They are no longer individuals who make problematic jokes in small circles, but propagate to millions of young people and young adults. Yes, listen to me, young people, young adults. Communism kills. Socialism, all types of socialism, national or not, it kills. When you hear about a communist, scream and run the other way. Just say no. See, I'm doing my part. I am doing my part. From like the German activist told me that I have influence and I'm going to influence you. Never vote socialist. Ever. Like, I don't care who's on the other side of the vote. You put your stamp on the other side. Do you hate these people that are trying to interfere into your video games? Do you not like it? Do you know what would piss them off? If you vote right wing. You go into that voting booth and stamp. But other than that, keep quiet. Alright, just keep quiet, head down, do what they say. Yes, massa. Yes, of course. Yes, homophobia, bad, sexism, bad. Oh, I never make a sexist joke. And then when you go into the voting booth, and these people will not be able to sleep at night. Like, trust me, they hate it when that happens. You know, just, like, what do Nazis want? Big government, muy government, big. You need to want chiquita government. Chiquita, very little, so that the taxpayer money dries up for these people. There's no more. We have taxpayer money, but for healthcare. Healthcare is important. For the police, for the military, for the activists, not so much. So that is like the perfect world that you need to create for these moral busybodies. And until then, just no more jokes. No, everything is good. Everything is fine. All is good. But anyway, right? So we also have like EA Games. Joining this. It's being endorsed by EA Games. EA Games are now endorsing Stasis. Really interesting, isn't it? Ooh. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys into the comment section.